Alex? Is that really you? Emily's voice cut through the bustling cafe, bright as ever. My heart skipped a beat. She hadn't changed much. Her smile still held that careless warmth I remembered. Emily, wow, I said, standing so fast I nearly knocked over my chair. It's been years. Too many years, she laughed, pulling me into a hug. You haven't changed either. Still awkward, I see. Some things never change, I replied, smiling despite myself. Irene hovered nearby, clipboard in hand, her eyes sharp. Emily, don't you have a meeting? She asked softly. Emily waved her off. It can wait. I want to catch up with Alex first. Her trust in me made a strange warmth swell inside me. So, what's new? I asked. I tried to sound casual, but I couldn't help staring at the confidence in her posture, the sparkle in her eyes. She'd done well for herself. Too well. Too much, she admitted. I've been managing the Carter Estate Investments charity work. Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning, honestly. I can imagine. I hesitated. It sounds impressive. I felt a twinge of envy, quickly masked by admiration. You've really made it. Emily leaned back. Thanks, Alex. That means a lot coming from you. Irene shifted, frowning slightly. I caught her glance. She didn't know the half of it. My own thoughts threatened to cross lines I shouldn't. You remember the old treehouse at my backyard? Emily asked suddenly. We spent entire summers there. Of course, I said, smiling at the memory. I still remember stealing your comic books and blaming it on the wind. Emily laughed so hard she snorted. You little thief. I swore I'd get you back one day. I think you did, I replied quietly, glancing at her. There was a softness in her eyes I hadn't expected. A vulnerability. My mind flickered dangerously, if someone like me wanted, but I shoved the thought down. Not now. Not ever. You know, Alex, she said after a pause, I've never had anyone I trust as much as you. It's rare. I swallowed hard. I feel the same. My voice caught slightly, but I hid it behind a grin. You know I'd never betray that. Emily smiled, relieved. I know. Then she leaned closer, her tone dropping. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something important. My latest investment. Big risk, huge payoff. I trust you enough to hear it out. My pulse quickened, but I kept calm. You have my attention. It's a partnership deal, she explained, pulling out documents from her bag. I want someone I can rely on to review it with me. No one else can really understand the stakes like you do. I see, I said, nodding slowly. Every instinct in me screamed to exploit this, but I forced myself to focus on her words, not her wealth. You really trust me that much? Emily's eyes softened. I do. And honestly, it feels good knowing someone gets me. Someone I can rely on. Irene cleared her throat. Emily, lunch will get cold. Emily laughed. Irene, not now. This is important. Then she turned back to me, eyes shining. I always knew you'd be here for me. I am, I said firmly. But inside, a storm brewed. The thought of taking advantage of her trust teased at me. I pushed it aside, hiding it behind a smile, because for now, I would be the friend she believed I was. As we pored over the documents, I noticed the lines of worry on her face. The delicate balance of risk, trust, and hope in her eyes. It made my chest tighten. She was brilliant, naive, and trusting. Dangerous if mishandled. And I promised myself quietly, for now I wouldn't. For now. Alex, you haven't met James yet, Emily said, leading me into her office. Her tone was casual, but I noticed a slight edge in her voice. I'd love to, I said, forcing a smile. A man rose from behind a sleek desk, extending a hand. James Clark. Pleasure. I shook it, sensing charm layered with something sharp, almost calculating. Nice to meet you. Emily speaks very highly of you, James said smoothly. I hope I can live up to that. She's very kind, I replied. But inside, a knot twisted in my chest. There was something in James, slick, persuasive, that didn't sit right with me. Emily waved us both to sit. We were just discussing upcoming investments. James leaned back, fingers steepled. Yes, very exciting opportunities, Emily. But I have to say, some of your strategies worry me. Too much risk. Too much risk. Emily frowned, her hand brushing absent-mindedly over a stack of papers. I've calculated everything. I can handle it. I felt a flash of jealousy. Risk. She trusted me completely with her ideas, and here's James inserting doubt. My mind churned. Protect her, I told myself, but a small, dangerous thought crept in. What if I had the power to steer her decisions? Emily, James isn't wrong, I said cautiously. Sometimes even the safest plans can go sideways. Emily looked at me, gratitude softening her eyes. I know, Alex. You always balance me out. I clenched my fists under the desk. Balance me out. She leaned on me without knowing how easily I could manipulate that trust. My pulse quickened, guilt and temptation colliding. James smiled, oblivious. I just want to make sure your investments grow safely. And I appreciate that, Emily said, smiling weakly, but I noticed a flicker of doubt cross her face. Later, in a quieter corner, Emily confided, Alex, do you remember my parents? Her voice dropped. Losing them, it changed everything. Made me wary of people. Trust is so rare. I remember, I said softly. I can't imagine losing them so young. She nodded, eyes misty. Sometimes I wonder if anyone really understands. Except you, Alex. You get it? Her words hit me harder than I expected. She leaned close, almost unconsciously. You've always been there, even when I didn't realize it. I swallowed, my thoughts twisting. Of course I've been there, and now her fortune is within reach. I hate myself for even thinking it, but the temptation is real. Emily, I trailed off, suddenly uncertain if I should reveal my worry about James. You're worried about him? She asked. A little, I admitted. He seems persuasive. Careful, maybe. Emily smiled faintly. I know. But I need to trust someone, Alex. I've learned to pick carefully. I hope you trust me too. I do, I said quickly, though inside I felt the pull of a darker choice. Later, Mark, one of the investors, stopped by. Emily, this new partnership, are you sure it's wise? He raised an eyebrow, skeptical. I've thought it through, Mark, she replied firmly. I trust my judgment. Mark shook his head. I just hope trust alone doesn't lead you into trouble. Emily gave me a glance, concern mixed with reassurance. See, Alex? Even others doubt me. But I have you. I nodded, forcing a smile. Always. Walking home, I replayed everything. James's charm, Mark's skepticism, Emily's vulnerable trust. My mind raced. Protect her? Or take advantage? Every rational thought wrestled with darker impulses. I hated the thoughts I couldn't push away. But her vulnerability, her absolute trust in me, made it hard to ignore. One thing was certain, I was standing on the edge of a choice that could change everything. And I wasn't sure if I would step back or forward. Alex, Emily said, sliding the contract across the table. I want you to be co-executor for this investment. I trust you completely. I picked up the papers, my fingers trembling slightly. Co-executor? I asked, trying to sound casual. Yes, she replied firmly. You know the numbers, the risks. I couldn't do this without you. Her trust hit me like a punch. I wanted to nod to reassure her, but part of me flinched. I could manipulate this. I could take a little, just a little. I shoved the thought down and smiled. Of course, Emily. I'll do my best. You always do, she said softly, giving me a look I couldn't read. Warmth? Confidence? Or maybe both. James appeared behind us, leaning casually against the doorway. Emily, making me feel unnecessary again? His grin was smooth, practiced. James, Emily said, slightly tense, this is Alex. He'll help oversee the investment. I extended my hand. Nice to see you again. Likewise, he said, shaking it firmly. But I caught the way his eyes flicked toward the papers. Suspicion. He noticed me, my presence, and something in me quivered. Later, in the quiet of Emily's office, she leaned back, eyes tired but bright. Alex, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. You really understand me. I want to help, I said, my mind racing. The temptation was growing. Every number on the contract seemed to whisper possibilities. A little here, a little there, no one would notice. You've always been my rock, she continued, leaning forward. Even when I made mistakes. I swallowed, forcing my conscience aside. I'll always be here. That night, I sat alone, the contract in front of me. My apartment was silent except for the faint hum of the city outside. I replayed our conversation over and over. If I moved carefully, no one could trace it. My chest tightened. Guilt wrestled with greed. The phone buzzed. A message from James, be careful. I've noticed your closeness with Emily. Don't cross lines. I scowled. So he suspects me. Good. Or maybe not. Every word was a warning. I typed a reply I would never send, deleting it before hitting send. The next morning, Emily greeted me with her usual warmth. Alex, did you think about the plan? We need to finalize the first transfers. Yes, I said, keeping my tone steady. Everything looks good. I'll handle the initial transfer. Her eyes softened. Thank you. I trust you completely. I nodded, forcing a small smile, hiding the storm inside. One small move. Just one small move. As I watched her leave, I felt James's gaze on me. He didn't speak, but the look said everything. Suspicion, caution, maybe even threat. I clenched my jaw. He wouldn't stop me. Not if I was careful. Later, in the dead of night, I opened my laptop. I traced the transfer pathways, double-checked the codes, and rehearsed the plan. No one will notice. It's just a fraction. It won't hurt her. She'll never know. I muttered to myself, almost a prayer. Just a little to start. The click of the confirmation button made my heart pound. A small portion of funds was now redirected, hidden behind legitimate entries. My stomach twisted. Thrill, fear, guilt, power, all mixed together. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. I've started. There's no turning back now. The apartment felt colder than usual. I whispered, barely audible, I can't believe I did it, but I had to start somewhere. Minutes later, I heard a faint ping on my phone. A news alert about the market shift Emily had been tracking. I smiled weakly. Everything was still under control for now. Tomorrow I'd face her again, her trust unshaken, oblivious to my first step. And James, he'd watch, but he wouldn't interfere. Not yet. I shut the laptop, the taste of guilt bitter on my tongue. But excitement lingered, dangerous and sharp. I had begun the betrayal. One small move, one tiny crack in loyalty. And somehow I already knew it wouldn't be enough. I've been reviewing the reports, Alex, Irene said, her voice calm but sharp. Some numbers don't quite add up. I forced a casual smile. Really? Where? Here, she said, pointing at a spreadsheet on her tablet. This transfer seems off. Did you check the source? I did, I said quickly, keeping my tone light. Everything matches what Emily approved. Maybe it's just a rounding error? She narrowed her eyes. Maybe. Or maybe someone overlooked something. I nodded, leaning back. I'll go through it again tonight just to be sure. Thanks for catching that. She hesitated, then said, I trust you, Alex. But I'll keep an eye on this. I smiled, masking the tension twisting inside me. She's sharp, too sharp. Later, Emily called me to her living room. Alex, come sit, she said, patting the sofa beside her. I obeyed, feeling the weight of my guilt. I don't know, she whispered, her voice soft. Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning in decisions. You make it easier just being here. You mean that? I asked, my throat tight. Of course, she said. I don't trust many people, Alex. But you get me. Always have. I swallowed hard, my mind spinning. She trusts me completely, and I've already started. One small move. I can't stop now. Just then my phone buzzed. A message from James, still close to her? Be careful. She notices everything. I looked up at Emily, forcing a smile. Nothing goes unnoticed, huh? She chuckled lightly. Not by you, I hope? I laughed, though my stomach twisted. Of course not. Later in the office, Irene stopped by again. Alex, I need clarification on these numbers. They're minor, but they don't match the projections. I leaned over the desk with her, studying the figures. Maybe a software glitch. I can fix it. She studied me, eyes narrowed. Make sure you do. Emily counts on us both. I nodded, pretending relief. She's so close to the truth, too close. That evening, Emily invited me for dinner at her place. I like having you here, she said, pouring wine. It feels normal. I smiled, my guilt rising. I enjoy it too. It's nice to just talk. She leaned back, sighing. Sometimes I wonder if people really care or just want something from me. You're genuine. I am, I said firmly, hiding the lie in my voice. At least for now. James appeared later, lingering outside her office window. I caught his reflection in the glass. He didn't speak, but I felt his judgment. I swallowed, nerves tight. One wrong move and everything falls apart. Back at home, I went over the spreadsheets on my laptop. Every number, every transfer, every tiny manipulation. It had to be perfect. My hands shook slightly. I can't let them see, not Emily, not Irene, not James. I muttered to myself, pacing. Just hide it all before she notices. The clock ticked past midnight. I copied and encrypted the files I'd siphoned, hiding them in layers of folders no one would find. My heart pounded with fear and excitement. This is it. One step closer, and yet, every second feels like walking on a knife. I thought of Emily, asleep in the next room, trusting me completely. A wave of guilt hit me, suffocating. But the thrill lingered, dangerous and intoxicating. I'm playing with fire, and I can't stop. Irene's voice echoed in my mind. Alex, I'll keep an eye on this. I clenched my fist. Then I'll be sharper. I can't let her, or anyone, catch me. By the time I shut my laptop, I was exhausted, heart racing, mind spinning. I had narrowly avoided suspicion twice today, but I knew tomorrow would bring new challenges. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The evidence was hidden for now. But the weight of betrayal pressed down harder than I expected. And deep inside, I knew, the closer I got to her trust, the further I drifted from my own conscience. Alex, Emily said as she walked into the office, eyes tired, hair slightly disheveled. I can't believe how much work this investment is turning into. You're handling it well, I said smoothly, though my pulse hammered. It's a lot, but you've got it under control. She gave me a weary smile. I hope so. Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning. You always make it seem easier, though. I nodded, hiding the edge of guilt in my voice. You know I'll always help. She leaned back, closing her eyes. I don't know what I'd do without you. That trust, so absolute. I thought, my chest tightening. Tonight it ends. Or rather, tonight it begins fully. Later I sat at my laptop, the numbers glowing on the screen. I traced the accounts carefully, memorizing the flow. One big move. Just this once. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, trembling. A ping interrupted me, James's message. Late night again? Hope you're careful. I frowned, typing a reply I wouldn't send. Mind your own business. I deleted it before sending. He didn't need to know how close I was to crossing the line. Emily's voice floated in my memory. I trust you completely. The words were both a blessing and a curse. I started transferring the bulk of her fortune to a hidden account I had set up under layers of encryption. My hands shook, but I kept my eyes on the screen. Almost there, almost, I whispered. A sudden thought made my stomach knot. What if she notices? But I pushed it aside. Carefully, meticulously, I masked the transaction as legitimate entries, manipulated documents, and erased all digital traces. Just then, Emily appeared behind me. Everything okay? I jumped slightly. Yes. Just double-checking some figures. Her brow furrowed. You seem tense. Are you sure you've got it under control? I forced a laugh. Absolutely. No problems here. She studied me a moment longer, then nodded. I don't know what I'd do without you, Alex. I exhaled slowly once she left. She'd never suspect, not now, not ever. Later, James appeared in the doorway, leaning casually. Busy night, Alex? Yes, just making sure the reports are perfect, I replied, keeping my voice steady. Careful, my friend, he said, a sly smile on his lips. Sometimes being too close to someone can backfire. I clenched my jaw, forcing a grin. Noted. He left, but the warning lingered. Every word, every glance heightened the stakes. One slip, one suspicion. By midnight, Emily was gone, attending to some last-minute calls. Alone, I reviewed the accounts again. Everything looked perfect. No red flags, no anomalies. My heart pounded, exhilaration and terror colliding. I did it. But then guilt gnawed at me. I imagined her weary face, the way she trusted me blindly, depending on me entirely. My chest tightened. What have I done? I pushed the thought aside, focusing on the thrill, the sheer power of control. Every number under my command, every move hidden from the world. I felt both unstoppable and exposed. Emily called me just before midnight. Alex, can you check something for me? I think a minor entry is off. Yes, I'll handle it, I said quickly, masking panic. She sighed. I swear these numbers are endless. I don't know why I trusted anyone else with this. You did the right thing trusting me, I said softly, my voice steady despite the chaos in my mind. She laughed lightly. You always make me feel better. Even when things get messy. I smiled, feeling the weight of the lie. She's exhausted, and I've added to it. My stomach churned. But there was no turning back. Hours later, I finally shut down my laptop. Every trace of the transfer hidden. My pulse still raced, adrenaline clashing with remorse. I felt the heavy cost of betrayal pressing on my chest. I thought of Emily sleeping somewhere in her house, unaware. She had given me everything. Trust, confidence, hope. And I had taken a part of it. The exhilaration and fear were inseparable. I had crossed the line, and it was intoxicating but terrifying. One wrong step, one suspicion, and it would all come crashing down. I leaned back in my chair, whispering to no one. It's done, for now. The thrill lingered, sharp and dangerous. But so did the guilt. And somewhere deep inside, I knew that this first theft was only the beginning, and that every future move would be heavier than the last. Alex, can you come in for a second? Emily's voice trembled slightly over the phone. I froze. What's wrong? I forced calm. There's a discrepancy in the reports, she admitted. It's small, but it doesn't make sense. My stomach sank. Not now. Not this close to everything unraveling. I cleared my throat. Discrepancy? Maybe it's a software error, or the bank's updated something overnight. I'll check it immediately. Please, Alex, she said softly. I don't know who else to trust. I swallowed, hiding the panic in my voice. I'll handle it. Don't worry, Emily. I've got it. Later, I met her in the office. Her expression was tense, eyes scanning numbers like a hawk. Alex, look at this, she said, pointing. This transfer seems off by a few thousand. Did you authorize it? Yes, I did, I said quickly. But I double-checked. It's probably a minor adjustment by the bank. These things happen. She frowned. I hope you're right. I reached over casually, pointing to a graph. See? The projections still match. It's just a rounding error. She exhaled slowly. I guess, but I hate feeling like I can't trust myself. You can trust me, I said softly. I'm here to make sure nothing slips through. Irene appeared in the doorway, clipboard in hand. Alex, I need clarification on these figures. Some don't match the audit logs. I turned to her, smiling. Irene, thanks for noticing. It's probably an external update. I'll reconcile it tonight. Her eyes narrowed. Make sure it's reconciled properly. Emily is relying on us both. I nodded, keeping my expression light. Too sharp, too cautious. My mind raced. I can't let her find out. Not her, not Irene, not James. James's presence lingered even when he wasn't there. I imagined him checking logs, tracing patterns. My phone buzzed. Another message. Careful. Things don't add up. Watch your back. I stared at the screen, heart pounding. He's closer than I thought, he suspects. I deleted the message, pretending nothing had happened. That night, I lay awake, haunted by my own actions. I could have stopped. One small move. I didn't have to siphon the money. Flashbacks of Emily laughing, trusting me completely, haunted me like shadows on the ceiling. I should have said no, I muttered to myself, voice barely audible. I could have, but I didn't. I replayed every moment. Emily's soft gaze, Irene's suspicious frown, James's sly warnings. Every memory twisted with guilt, fear, and adrenaline. One wrong word, one wrong number, it's all over. The next morning, Emily called me into her office again. Alex, I checked the transfer again. It's odd. I feel like I'm missing something. It's nothing, I said quickly, forcing calm. Banks make mistakes all the time. Don't let it worry you. But it doesn't feel right, she said softly. I hate feeling insecure about my own decisions. You're not insecure, I said, forcing sincerity. You're just human. And humans rely on each other. That's why you have me. Her gaze lingered on me for a moment. I hope you're right. Irene popped her head in. Emily, Alex is right. I double-checked everything. It's probably just a technical error. Emily nodded, still tense. I guess, thank you both. Alone later, I stared at the screen, every number in my mind. Panic twisted inside me. She's noticing. Irene's noticing. James is always noticing. How long until it all collapses? I rubbed my face, feeling exhaustion creep in. Sleepless nights, paranoia, fear, it was consuming me. But every time I thought of stopping, the memory of her trust, her vulnerability, tempted me to continue. I could fix this, I whispered. Or I could keep going. The guilt pressed heavier than the fear, but the thrill lingered. Every careful manipulation, every erased trace, was a risk that sharpened my senses. I couldn't sleep, couldn't relax. The betrayal was mine alone, and yet, it was consuming me entirely. By midnight, I closed my laptop and sat in the dark. The discrepancy remained unexplained to Emily, Irene, and James. But I knew it was only a matter of time before the threads began to unravel. I whispered to no one, I started this. I can't stop it. Not now. Not ever. Alex, we need to talk. Emily's voice was calm, but her eyes held something sharp, suspicion. I froze. Talk about what? I forced a casual tone, though my stomach churned. You know what? She said, leaning against the desk. I've noticed inconsistencies. Minor ones, but they're there. I smiled, trying to keep my voice steady. Emily, I assure you, everything is perfectly in order. The banks probably adjusted a few entries. She shook her head slowly. I don't think it's the banks. I can feel it. Something isn't right. I need to know the truth. I forced a laugh. You're imagining things. We've worked together for years. You know I'd never do anything to hurt you. Her eyes narrowed. Do I? I swallowed. Of course. I'm here for you, Emily. Always. She stared at me, silent for a long moment. Then the phone buzzed. James. I glanced at it discreetly. His message read, "Be honest. Don't waste time." I clenched my fists under the desk. Damn him. Now he's pressuring me too. Emily spoke again. Alex, I want to believe you. I really do. But my instincts, they're telling me something's off. I swear, Emily, nothing's off, I said quickly. You're overworked. Stress makes the mind see patterns that aren't real. Her lips pressed into a thin line. You're telling me it's all in my head? I'm telling you I trust your judgment, and I want to help you see there's nothing wrong, I said softly, forcing sincerity. She looked away for a moment, rubbing her forehead. I want to trust you. I really do. I exhaled silently. She almost sees it, almost. Later, James appeared in the doorway, arms crossed. Emily, can I speak with you for a moment? She nodded, then glanced at me. Alex, stay close. I don't know what to do. I nodded, my throat tight. Every second felt like a countdown. If she confronts me fully, everything is gone. James whispered to her. I'm just asking questions. We need clarity. Alex, your position. I hope it's transparent. I forced a calm smile. Completely transparent. He didn't look convinced. I'll be watching. Carefully. After he left, Emily turned to me, tension clear in her eyes. Alex, I need to protect myself. I can't be naive anymore. I need to double-check everything you touch. I felt a pang of fear, sharp and immediate. She's already creating barriers, one step closer to discovering the truth. I understand, I said quickly. I'll do whatever you need. I don't want to lose your trust. Her gaze softened slightly, but it was cautious now. I can't risk it, Alex. Not anymore. You've been invaluable, but I need to be sure. I nodded, masking panic. I get it. I want you to feel safe. Later, alone, I paced my apartment. Everything is slipping. Emily suspects. James suspects. Irene suspects. One misstep and it's over. I sank onto the couch, rubbing my face. I could confess, but then it's all gone. I could run, but she'd chase me and the law would follow. Or I could manipulate her just one more time. My chest tightened. Every choice has consequences. I wanted ambition, I wanted power, and now I'm cornered by it all. I thought of Emily, exhausted, cautious, trying to protect herself. She's preparing for betrayal she doesn't fully know yet. And I made this happen. I whispered into the dark, one wrong move, Alex, and it's all gone. But I can't stop now. Not yet. Her decision to safeguard herself was like a blade pressed to my chest. She didn't know the full truth, but her actions were the first dominoes of my exposure. I stared at the ceiling, heart pounding, mind racing. Ambition and greed had brought me here, but fear and guilt were my constant companions now. This is it, I thought. The collision course I started, it's coming and there's no turning back. Alex, can you come to the conference room? Irene's voice over the intercom sounded calm, but there was steel underneath. I froze mid-step. Yeah, on my way, I muttered. Inside, several investors had gathered. James stood at the back, leaning casually, but his eyes burned with intent. Alex, he said, voice low, I thought you should see this. What is it? I asked, forcing calm, my heart pounding. Emily's assistant handed me a tablet. Numbers, transfers, accounts, some flagged, some highlighted. Partial evidence of my earlier manipulations. I swallowed. That's just a glitch. Some old entries, maybe a reporting error. One investor frowned. It doesn't seem like an error. Look at these patterns. Emily's voice trembled slightly. Alex, what is this? I forced a tight smile. Emily, I promise you it's nothing serious. Probably a technical mistake. I'll handle it immediately. Her gaze lingered on me, searching. I want you to fix it, Alex. But I need honesty too. James stepped closer. Honesty, Alex. Investors notice inconsistencies. You know that, right? I nodded, pretending calm. Of course. I'll clarify everything by morning. Emily's frown deepened. I trusted you with everything. Please don't betray me, Alex. Not after all we've been through. I clenched my fists under the table. I already have, but she doesn't know the full story. Later, in my apartment, I reviewed the accounts frantically. Bank alerts flashed. Digital trails marked transfers. Every escape route seemed blocked. I underestimated her. I underestimated them all. I muttered to myself, pacing. It was supposed to be perfect, just a little siphon, no one would notice. My phone buzzed. A message from James, "You're running out of time. Fix it or face consequences." I dropped onto the couch. Fear gnawed at me. Consequences are already here. I can feel it. I should have stopped. I should have confessed. I thought of Emily. Her trust. Her soft smile when she said, "I don't know what I'd do without you." My chest twisted. I destroyed that. For what? A thrill? Greed? Nothing felt worth this. I tried to initiate emergency transfers, moving the fortune to hidden accounts. Alerts popped up. Banks flagged suspicious activity. Every click, every keystroke made me more paranoid. "Alex, are you okay?" Emily's voice echoed in my head. I remembered her concern, her exhaustion from work, her reliance on me. The guilt pressed heavier than the panic. I leaned back, hands trembling. I thought I could control everything. I was wrong. I can't run. I can't hide. And I can't undo what I did. The phone buzzed again, another investor asking questions. I crafted explanations, apologies, and diversions, each one shaky. My mind raced. Every lie seemed smaller against the avalanche I'd started. Irene called, voice precise. "Alex, some entries don't reconcile. I need you to explain these anomalies now." "I'm working on it," I said quickly, heart hammering. "There's a glitch. I'll fix it tonight." Her silence lasted a beat too long. "Make sure you do. Emily's counting on you." I rubbed my face, feeling the weight of betrayal pressing down. Every detail, every manipulation had led here. Karma wasn't a concept anymore, it was reality breathing down my neck. I thought of James, smirking behind his polite words, knowing he had planted suspicion, nudging the dominoes toward me. I should have seen it. I underestimated him. I underestimated her intelligence. I whispered to myself in the dark, voice raw. I can't believe I did this. I was so careful, and yet everything is collapsing. I stared at the laptop, alerts flashing, digital traces pointing straight at me. The walls were closing in. Fear, regret, and moral panic intertwined. I realized the truth I had ignored. Betrayal comes at a cost, and no amount of planning can outrun karma. Tomorrow Emily would act. James would probe further. And I might lose everything. "Alex, sit down." Emily's voice was quiet but carried steel. I froze where I stood, my chest tight. I obeyed, heart pounding. "Emily?" She held up a folder, evidence spilling from the edges. Transfers, altered documents, timestamps. "I know everything. Every move. Every lie." I swallowed, trying to force calm. "Emily, it's not what you think." She shook her head. "Don't. I trusted you with everything and you..." Her voice cracked, but she steadied herself. "You took it." I felt my knees weaken. I can explain." "No, Alex. I don't want excuses," she interrupted sharply. "I want honesty." "Why?" I hesitated. "Why? Because I was greedy. Because I was weak. Because I couldn't resist it. I wanted to help. I wanted to. I don't know. I made a terrible mistake." James leaned against the wall, arms crossed. That's one way to put it. His eyes were cold, calculating. Irene stood beside him, expression unreadable. "Alex, this isn't just a mistake. It's criminal." I swallowed, feeling the walls closing in. I thought I could fix it before anyone noticed. My voice was shaking. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Emily's eyes, once soft and trusting, burned with hurt. "You didn't mean to, but you did. And now, everything is ruined." "Emily, please," I begged, voice cracking. "I can make this right. I'll return everything." Her hand shot out, stopping me. "It's too late. Legal actions are already in motion. Banks are freezing assets. Investors are filing complaints." I felt a chill crawl up my spine. No, it can't be that bad." James smirked slightly. "It's exactly that bad. You thought you were invisible, Alex. But everyone notices when money disappears, and you left traces everywhere." Irene's voice was quiet, sharp. "I warned you. Transparency matters, trust matters. You broke both." I sank into the chair, head in my hands. Everything gone. Fortune, trust, respect, all of it. Emily exhaled slowly. "I won't lie, Alex. I'm hurt. But I'm also learning. I'm stronger than I thought. I'll rebuild, and I'll make sure nothing like this happens again." Her words cut through me. "She's resilient." She's growing. And I'm nothing but shame. I whispered, barely audible. Emily, I'm so sorry. She didn't respond immediately. Instead, she stared at me, eyes steady. Sorry doesn't fix this. But you need to understand the cost of betrayal. The cost is everything you thought you had. I nodded, unable to speak. The weight of guilt and humiliation pressed down. My mind raced through every lie, every subtle manipulation, every stolen cent. All of it brought me here. James shifted, breaking the silence. The courts will handle the rest. You'll answer for your actions. Irene's gaze was cold. And I'll make sure the financial discrepancies are fully documented. There's no escaping this one. I looked at Emily again. Her posture was calm, almost composed, though her eyes still glimmered with pain. She's been hurt, but she's not broken. And I am. I whispered into the empty office, voice raw. I've lost everything, the fortune, the trust, the person I loved, all gone. All because of my own greed. She finally spoke, soft but firm. Remember this, Alex. Betrayal always comes with a cost. And sometimes, it's more than you can bear. I leaned back, silence pressing down. The legal notices, the frozen accounts, the shattered relationships, they all felt like heavy chains around my heart. I had dreamed of wealth, control, admiration, and now I had nothing. Not even the one person who had believed in me unconditionally. I closed my eyes, feeling the full weight of my actions. The downfall wasn't just financial, it was personal, moral, and irreparable. Greed destroyed me. Betrayal destroyed me. And I am left with nothing but regret. I sat on the edge of my empty apartment, staring at the peeling paint and the faint sunlight spilling through the dusty windows. No phone buzzed, no emails demanded my attention. Only silence, and the weight of everything I had lost. I whispered to myself, some fortunes are never worth the cost of the heart. Flashbacks came unbidden. Emily laughing as she explained her new investment plan. I was supposed to help her, not steal from her. The memory of her soft trust made my chest tighten. I can't believe I did that, I muttered aloud, voice barely audible. I ruined everything. Irene's voice echoed in my mind. Transparency matters. Trust matters. I had broken both. And James, his smirk, the subtle warning in his eyes, haunted me more than any legal threat ever could. I remembered the night I siphoned her funds, fingers trembling, adrenaline and guilt intertwined. I told myself it was temporary, that I would return it, that no one would notice. Temporary? I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. I lied to myself too. I closed my eyes and whispered, Emily, I'm sorry. I never deserved your trust. Outside, I could hear life moving on without me. Cars, footsteps, laughter from strangers who still believed in second chances. And Emily, I imagined her, strong, confident, moving forward. I recalled a friend mentioning her latest charity gala. She's thriving, they had said. Happier, smarter, wiser. I felt a hollow twist in my chest. My betrayal hadn't broken her, it had shaped her. And I was left with nothing but shadows. I rubbed my temples. I wanted wealth, control, admiration. And now I have nothing. No fortune, no friends, no respect, no Emily. Memories of confrontation flooded back. Her quiet, resolute voice. Betrayal always comes with a cost. I had known it then, intellectually, but now I felt it in every fiber of my being. Every sleepless night, every flash of panic, every lonely meal, it was the cost she promised and I ignored. I thought of James, of Irene, of every small choice I'd made along the way. I underestimated them, underestimated her intelligence, underestimated myself. I whispered into the empty apartment, voice raw. Greed destroyed me. Ambition destroyed me. Betrayal destroyed me. And I am left with only regret. A knock on the door startled me. I ignored it. Who would come for me now? Friends had vanished, Emily had moved on, the law had taken its toll. Only memories remained, harsh, unyielding, unforgiving. I opened a notebook I had kept hidden. Notes on plans, numbers, excuses, every line a testament to my hubris. My hands trembled as I read them, seeing the greed clearly, the moral failures I had rationalized. I could have been better. I should have been better. I remembered Emily smiling at me once, asking for advice on a minor investment. I trust you, Alex. Always. That trust, now shattered, felt heavier than any financial loss. I whispered again. I lived in illusions, chasing wealth, thinking I could control everything, but I couldn't control her trust. I couldn't control myself. Outside, the city moved forward. I saw a couple laughing on the street, a child chasing a balloon, and a small cafe buzzing with life. The world didn't stop for me, didn't mourn my fall. It simply existed, reminding me that life continued with or without me. I exhaled a long, shuddering breath. I survived, I said quietly. Physically. But not in the way that matters. I closed my eyes, letting memories wash over me, feeling every consequence, every lost opportunity, every scar I had earned. And somewhere deep inside I knew I would carry them forever. Some fortunes, I whispered one last time, voice raw and trembling, are never worth the cost of the heart.